Nasdaq 100 falls 1% as Nvidia hit before earnings. Markets wrap August 25, 24. Here are 5 highlights. 1. September is historically the worst month on the calendar, so investors should expect some volatility. 2. Oh-Sung Kwon from Bank of America Powell confirmed a rate cut in September, supporting our thesis for continued broadening and rotation. 3. Goldman Sachs Scott Rubner anticipates strong flows from corporate buybacks, $17 billion. 4. Nvidia's upcoming earnings will complete the results for the Mag 7 tech stocks, which are projected to achieve 34% year-over-year earnings growth. 5. Keith Lerner of Truist Advisory Services believes that S&P 500 returns are generally positive following the initial Fed rate cut unless the economy enters a recession. If you would like to support us, feel free, at any time, to smash the like button and subscribe. Now let's dive in. The S&P 500 declined to around 5,615, while its equal-weighted version, where companies like Target Corp hold as much influence as Microsoft Corp, reached all-time highs, driven by optimism that the bull market is broadening. Trading volume was 25% below the monthly average. Meanwhile, the Russell 2000, representing smaller firms, edged up by 0.2%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq 100 fell 1.1%. In the bond and commodities markets, 10-year Treasury yields rose by 2 basis points to 3.82%, and oil prices increased following Libya's eastern government announcement to halt exports. This decision heightens tensions in the Middle East after Israeli strikes on Hezbollah targets in the south. September is historically the worst month on the calendar, so investors should expect some volatility, especially if key indicators like the PCE inflation data, Nvidia earnings, or upcoming payroll reports disappoint. However, even with potential headwinds, a rebound in the fourth quarter is likely, particularly in an election year as the Fed begins cutting rates and share buybacks continue, stated Chris Larkin of E-Trade, referencing insights from Morgan Stanley. Oh-Sung Kwon from Bank of America Corp. added, Powell confirmed a rate cut in September at Jackson Hole, supporting our thesis for continued broadening and rotation. However, Nvidia earnings remain crucial for S&P returns and pose a risk if they disappoint. Goldman Sachs Scott Rubner anticipates strong flows from corporate buybacks, systematic funds, and retail investors to drive stocks higher in the coming weeks. He forecasts $17 billion of unemotional demand between robots and corporates every day this week and expects a green sweep from commodity trading advisors, who are likely to buy stocks regardless of market direction. Mark Hackett of Nationwide noted that the market has recently moved towards a healthier trajectory, reducing its heavy reliance on a few large tech stocks seen in the first 7 months of the year. However, he describes the current phase as a market pause. Expectations are high for Nvidia's earnings report on Wednesday, with analysts predicting another strong beat that could lead the chipmaker to raise its profit guidance. Citigroup's Vishal Vivek highlighted that options trading suggests a potential 9% move in either direction following the report. Nvidia's upcoming earnings will complete the results for the Magnificent Seven, which are projected to achieve 34% year-over-year earnings growth in Q2, compared to 6% for the rest of the S&P 500, according to Jason Pride and Michael Reynolds at Glenmead. This follows nearly a year where megacaps saw over 40% earnings growth while the rest of the index declined. Jason Pride and Michael Reynolds added, the second half of this year is likely to initiate a process leading to broader fundamental improvement. Wider earnings growth participation should benefit small caps and investment strategies that avoid concentrated markets. Richard Saperstein from Treasury Partners remarked, at current valuations, stocks are expensive, and further gains will depend on improving earnings. However, abundant liquidity, declining inflation, and an accommodative central bank provide a foundation for higher stock prices. Keith Lerner of Truist Advisory Services believes that S&P 500 returns are generally positive following the initial Fed rate cut unless the economy enters a recession, which he does not consider likely. Small caps are expected to perform better in the near term, but we still prefer large caps long term, Lerner added. He noted that small caps benefit more from lower short-term rates and currently have attractive valuations, though historical trends after the first Fed rate cut are mixed. Tom Essay of the Sevens report observed, growth stocks are losing bullish momentum in both price and relative strength to the S&P 500, while value stocks reached new all-time highs last week and are stabilizing relative to the S&P 500. More evidence is needed, but a value over growth trade is emerging. Jonathan Krinsky at BTIG stated, While the market is trending higher and nearing rate cuts, we expect some consolidation around previous highs. No rush to invest heavily, especially during one of the worst seasonal periods. Small caps are still above key breakout levels, but we're more focused on potential shifts in relative trends. Rate cuts should support this trade if economic data remains strong. Upcoming US inflation data will likely confirm the anticipated interest rate cuts, with consumer spending figures indicating that the central bank has maintained economic expansion. Economists project the Fed's preferred personal consumption expenditures, PCE, price index, excluding food and energy, will rise by 0.2% in July for the second consecutive month, bringing the 3-month annualized core inflation rate to 2.1%, slightly above the Fed's 2% target. Corporate highlights. 1. Elliott Investment Management has increased its equity stake in Southwest Airlines Company to 9.7%, nearing the amount needed to call a special shareholder meeting at which the activist hopes to replace most of the carrier's board. 2. Apple Inc. has sent out invitations for a product launch event at its headquarters on September 9th, when it's set to announce details of the iPhone 16 and other new devices. 3. Applied Materials Inc. said the U.S. Department of Justice has requested information on its applications for federal grants, adding another layer to government investigations into its operations. 4. Paramount Global is moving ahead with asset disposals to raise cash, people familiar with the matter said, amid the ongoing takeover saga involving the media company. 5. McKesson Corp. agreed to buy a controlling stake in an arm of Florida Cancer Specialists and Research Institute, a privately held operator of clinics. 6. PDD Holdings Inc.'s shares tumbled after Temu's owner warned that revenue growth will inevitably dwindle, highlighting the challenges of sustaining its pace of expansion against aggressive rivals like ByteDance Limited. Key events this week. 1. On Tuesday, China industrial profits, Germany GDP, US Conference Board consumer confidence. 2. On Wednesday Nvidia earnings, Fed's Raphael Bostic and Christopher Waller speak. 3. On Thursday, Eurozone consumer confidence, US GDP, initial jobless claims, Fed's Raphael Bostic speaks. 4. On Friday, Japan unemployment, Tokyo CPI, industrial production, retail sales, Eurozone CPI, unemployment, US personal income, spending, PCE, consumer sentiment, macro markets movers. 1. The S&P 500 fell 0.4% as of 3:30 p.m. New York time. The Nasdaq 100 fell 1.1%, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was little changed. The MSCI World Index fell 0.3%. Bloomberg Magnificent 7 Price Return Index fell 1.3%. The Russell 2000 Index rose 0.2%. 2. The Bloomberg Dollar Spot Index rose 0.2%. The euro fell 0.3% to $1.1162. The British pound fell 0.2% to $1.3189. The Japanese yen fell 0.1% to 144.55 per dollar. Bitcoin fell 1.1% to $63,514.49. Ether fell 2.9% to $2,691.04. 3. The yield on 10-year treasuries advanced 2 basis points to 3.82%. Germany's 10-year yield advanced 2 basis points to 2.25%. Britain's 10-year yield declined 5 basis points to 3.91%. West Texas Intermediate crude rose 3.2% to $77.24 a barrel. Spot gold rose 0.3% to $2,519.58 an ounce. Do you have Nvidia stock? Do you think the AI boom is just starting or already fading? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, good luck and good profit, by Edward Cash Trader. If you would like to support us, feel free, at any time, to smash the like button, and subscribe, and share with your friends all the valuable information.